Fala pessoal, tudo bem? A live de hoje vai ser um pouco diferente. A live de hoje vai ser em inglês com a Angelica Augustsson. Vamos dar um tempinho aí, eu marquei com elas 4. Hi Angelica, I'll just explain to people how it's gonna work. Para quem está entrando pela primeira vez, essa entrevista vai ser toda em inglês com a Angelica Augustsson. A Samantha Sutherland, que é uma amiga minha, vai estar sumarizando ou tentando sumarizar as respostas dela em português nos comentários, ok? E aí a gente vê depois como é que eu faço para traduzir, legendar, etc. E a gente parte daí. Então eu vou dar mais um tempinho para chamar a Angélica e a gente já começa. So for you that quite don't know it, this is going to be my first interview in English, at least full time. So I'm sorry if we do like any big mistakes. As you can imagine, English is not my first language. I'm a photographer from Brazil, and I'm doing some interview live with the writers around here. There's a friend of mine that's going to be summarizing the answers in Portuguese and put it on the comments if you don't understand. Tuca is Angelica Augustsson, and that should be a fantastic interview. I'm quite excited. So without further delay, I'm going to ask her to join in so we can start, okay? Hope it goes well enough, and if you guys don't understand what I'm saying or whatever, type some questions or whatever, and they'll try to keep it slower or however I can work it out. Angelica Augustsson.
Hello.
Hey Angelica.
Hi.
How are you?
Very good, thanks.
Great. First of all, thank you very much for joining in. You're going to be my first English interview, so sorry for doing big mistakes.
Well, it's my first live interview like this, so I'm also a little bit nervous.
So, well, should be right. Hello. Perfect. Angelica, I think the first question that I'm trying to do on every interview is how is you dealing with the coronavirus at the moment and with your horses?
Yes. So for the moment, we kind of learned to adapt to the situation. In the beginning, it was very hard. We didn't really know how to continue our training. We didn't know if we should give the horse a little bit easy, if it was only going to be a couple of weeks, if it's going to be a month. And then after a while, when we realized it's going to take a little bit longer, we gave the horses a little bit easier. We focused more on our younger horses, which has been really good. We've been doing a lot of exercises and, try to do a lot of things that we normally don't have time for. Also, actually outside of the training and the riding a little bit. Like we bought our farm 1.5 years ago, and so now we take the time to do a lot of work on the farm, which we normally don't have. We spend a lot of time with the kids, which is amazing to have every day the full day with them. So that's really nice. But in the training, so the older horses, they had it a little bit easier, and now they are taking up the training a little bit more again.
Perfect. Well, I've seen the interview that you did for World of Show Jumping, talking exactly about that,
Yeah.
the new situation and how it's great to be spending more time with the kids. And Marlon said exactly the same thing in my interview with him. So I think that's brilliant, considering that you are so many weeks after weeks outside the home. So I'm really glad for that. But let's get to what actually is the point. How and when did you start riding?
When I started riding?
Yes.
So I started riding, I would say I was around 8, I think. My family is not a horsey family at all.
Okay.
I grew up in a normal family, so to say. I was just very passionate about horses from the beginning. I had some attraction to the horses that I couldn't really explain. Every time I remember outside our house, it was sometimes people tracking with their horses. And then me and my friend, when we came home from school, we were sitting there and waiting for one horse to come so we could go there and ask if we could pat the horse. That's one strong memory that I have since I was young. And then I started to go to the local riding school. We didn't. I couldn't be a member of the riding school to take lessons because we couldn't afford that. Leading the horses in the leading groups, and if I did it a couple of times, then I got a riding lesson for free. So that's how I started riding. And then my sister, she had some friends with horses, and then she's a little bit older than me, and then I managed to go with them, and I could ride sometimes, and I absolutely loved it. It was incredible. And then slowly it started a little more. You want me to continue the
yeah, absolutely. The whole idea of the interview is to get to know your background, how you get to, to the big classes. I've read up some stuff about you on internet, but it's really suddenly you were junior jumping the big classes, and was found by Google.
Yes. So it's a long way before I came there. So then, so I had a few friends that had ponies, and I always went with them to ride. And then when there was someone that had a little bit of a problem with a pony, that it was stopping or it was throwing them off or something, I got the chance to try. And since I was a kid, I was very stubborn. And I would never give up for anything. So I always got that. I thought it was a really great challenge to try those ponies. So I learned that from the beginning, and I always found my way to convince those small little naughty ponies to jump. And then I started to go to a small show with one of my friend's ponies, and then slowly some dealers started to open up their eyes. They saw this little girl who made all the ponies jump. So then I got 1 or 2 ponies from a dealer, and my dad started to get very interested. So he came with me to the stables, and he was helping me to mock out the boxes, and that was the start. And then I started to go to shows, and I was also very competitive. So when I managed to make them jump, I also started to learn how to win.
Fantastic.
And then I started to work together with one local dealer that was buying ponies from Belgium, actually. So I started to ride their ponies, and I was being successful. My dad, he's also love competitions, so he got very motivated, and then to be able to finance the whole thing, because it still costs a lot of money, he took an extra job. So he was having 2 jobs just to be able to pay for the entry fees and everything. So it was quite intense. After a while, I had 7 or 8 ponies in the stable. I was riding before school and after school. And then I remember one time I was on a show, and then someone came and they asked me, "So are you going to the Swedish Championship?" So we didn't know anything, and I said, "I don't know. I don't know." They said, "You just qualified for the championship." I said, "Okay, yeah. Where is it?" And then we found out.
Sorry, how old were you when you first your jump this year?
Then I was 10.
10.
When I was doing my first championship.
No.
I know. And that's the youngest age you are allowed to do championship in Sweden. And then I finished on the 9th place in the championship. So it was, we were all super happy. Didn't really understand what was happening. It was nice. And then it continued like that. So I started to ride ponies from different dealers. I was very successful with the ponies. I won the championships. I won the Swedish Derby, but in the same time it was, you know, we didn't know so much. Like me and my dad, we were driving around to the different shows. We were sleeping in the car. So we came with a car, and we had a trailer for four ponies. And then, no, yeah, 4 ponies. And then we were making boxes out of that, because we couldn't actually afford to have the stables on the shows. So we were having the ponies in the boxes, and me and my dad, we were sleeping in the cars, in our car. We put the back seats down. We were sleeping there. It's a crazy story when you think about
It's
this
amazing.
now.
Like it's really, really.
But at that time, it felt normal. We didn't know anything other. Most of the other ones, they had big, beautiful trucks, but that was nothing that we could ever have. And then anyway, I won on the small pony, the B pony we call it. I won it, the championship. I also won it actually on the next level, and also on the bigger pony, the D pony. At that time, my dad actually we had a truck. When I was riding the D pony, he bought a truck that was an old. What was it? It was that they were driving food. Like it was a freezer, a big truck that was like a freezer. And then he was changing it all and was building it into a horse. He made windows and partitions, and then we could travel with the horses. And at that time, when I was riding D pony, we were in contact with Zetterman, Roine Zetterman. So I started to ride horses or ponies from him. So at that time, I had a little bit better ponies, because it was most of the times it was ponies that he was selling. He is a big dealer in Sweden. He was selling them. They didn't work out. They came back, and then I got to ride them. So many of them, they were really good. I won the championship on the D ponies. I went to the European championships. So I did all the steps for the ponies and the juniors and the young riders as well, but all with horses from other people. When I was gonna be a young rider, then a very good friend of mine, her family, I was at their place with my horses, and they saw all the work that we had been doing during the years, and they decided that they wanted to buy a horse for me to do the young riders, because they also realized that you needed a good horse to do young riders, because maybe up to junior level you can kick and lift them a little bit and make them jump. But for the young rider, you need a little bit of a better one. So they were very nice, and they bought me a horse that I could use for 1 or 2 years. So at that time, I must have been 17.
Okay.
And then we went to Germany to try to find this horse. And then we went to Dietmar Gugler, so where I'm later on started to work. So we found a very nice horse there. We bought it. Dietmar at that time made a little joke and asked if I wanted to start to work for him. But of course I was 17 and I was shy, and definitely would never think about going to Germany. But anyway, we got this horse. It was going very well. I did the young rider when I was 18, 18 with the horse. Yeah, then I started, went very good. And then Dietmar, he kept calling me, asking if I wanted to come and work for him. I was still starting to be a little bit open to the idea, but I wasn't sure if I was gonna move abroad. I wasn't really sure about my future. I just know that I love to ride. I realized at some point also that you could do this as a profession. So I thought, it was actually when I finished school when I was 18, and then I was at some point where I thought, what should I do now with my career? Because in Sweden I was doing very well, and I kind of thought I needed to do the next step. And then I finished school, and then Dietmar called me again. And then I said, okay, maybe I come down. And he said, just come down for a month and try. Like it always is, you just come to try. So I took my 2 horses my better horses, and then I went to Germany. My dad was driving me down. In one way also, it was my dad at that time, he had 3 jobs to finance the whole thing. He had 2 jobs during the days, and he was giving the newspaper out in the night. So he was working way too much, and it was also, I really appreciate it, but it was, you know, you don't want to see your parents work so hard just to make you do what you like to do. So at some point I also thought that I have to start to take care of myself, and if I want to do this, I cannot make my dad work so hard. So I thought, okay, maybe it was a good point, a good time to try. So we went down to Germany, and that's a new, was of course
New
a
chapter.
new chapter in my life, and wow, that was a beginning of a new story. Was of course in Sweden I did very good. I was one of the best juniors, young riders, was always one of the best ones on my category. So I had very good self-confidence. So when I came down to Germany, I also kind of thought I was gonna be one of the best ones over there. But I was definitely not. I was there. Okay, first of all, there's so many good riders, unbelievable. When you go to the local shows, to the national shows, they are really they're riding so good. And I also realized that I was very good in the ring to make horses jump, but I had no clue about what a good flat work was, dressage. So in the beginning when I was there, I had to basically only do flat work, and I got a lot of negative
Reviews.
critics. Oh yeah, that was tough. I was a little girl in Germany, which is a bit man-dominated anyway, the riding sport, and I got very pushed down. It was tough. It was very tough. It was a lot of hard days, hard nights with tears. But I was very I still am today, and I was very stubborn. And I said, I'm not gonna give up. If I'm gonna try this, I for sure gonna try it all the way. So I was biting my tongue and kept working. It was long days. We started very early. We ended very late. I remember when I came down to Germany, then I got a paper, and it was 10 horses, 10 names on the paper. And then it was 2 of them, it stood, please wear a helmet. Okay, so I always wear a helmet, but then I realized they might be a bit special somehow. So I had 10 horses. I didn't have a groom. I was mocking out in the morning. Yeah, it was hard. But when you're so passionate and you love what you do, and I felt that I really got better and better from all the riding. No days off. Everything you hear when you're gonna go to Germany, how hard it is. That's how it was. It was really hard.
Well, Angelica, that's a fantastic story. Like, that's exactly what you said. Like, we have no idea when we look at the riders now that this could possibly be the beginning of that. You said some things that I want to know what you think about. One of them, I'm not sure, you probably don't know, but in Brazil, we don't have ponies for kids. They start riding on big horses already, like normal sized horses.
Yeah.
Do you think it's really important to have the ponies categories?
I think it's very important. I mean, I was growing up with it, so I know how much fun you can have and much fun, how much crazy things we did, which I think you only can do with ponies. Like with our kids, if they want to ride, for sure they're gonna start with ponies. Maybe it's hard to say from the experience. Maybe it's a lot of good things with starting directly with older horses or bigger horses as well. But from my experience, I learned so much from ponies. They were so naughty and so stubborn, and I think you learn to be very strong-minded and to fight to get them where you want. And maybe when you're a little kid, it's easier to win that, to convince them, no, when they are a bit smaller than a big horse, I suppose.
Perfect, thank you. I will keep on going, because then you said something that it's a really big point for the interview, and I want to talk about that, but I think we should talk about it a little bit later on. So I will just go a little bit further. And what was the most important or the most significant victory of your career until now?
It's very easy for me to answer. I won when I was in Germany. I didn't tell the whole story, but
so keep on going. Sorry, we keep on going.
Okay,
after Germany.
okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, I try to make it short.
No, it's all right.
So yeah, I got a lot of horses to ride. It was a little bit different from when what I got promised when I came. I was gonna have a groom and I was gonna go to big shows and so and so. That didn't really happen from the start. I had a lot of horses. I had no groom, but I was also at that time, I knew what I wanted, and I pushed and pushed and pushed so that I could start to go to the bigger shows. Dietmar, my boss, he was for sure annoyed, I think, sometimes when this girl just didn't give up and kept asking and told him which shows we could do and this and that. Anyway, I got a lot of help. I got a lot better on the flat work, and I also realized how much that improved me in the ring. One of those horses that they told me to wear a helmet, it was Micmac du Toulard, which was later on my best horse in my career until now. So she was wild. She was wild. In my opinion, she was a bit dangerous at that time when she was young. I told Dietmar at one point, I said, I don't think I can do it. And I remember he sent her away to somewhere, I don't remember. She came back after a week and he said, no, they won't do it. And he was so convinced that this was a really, really superstar. So he said, you have to make it work. I said, okay, I'm gonna make it work. So I put all my soul into this horse. I worked so hard with her. I got a lot of help from Dietmar's wife, Sylvia Gugler, which is she's very good at the flat work. She's also riding dressage and jumping. So I got a lot of help from her. Anyway, slowly it started to get better. And I also started to do bigger shows, and it started to go very, very good. I can also just say when I was riding there, I got a lot of help, got a lot of training, which made me a lot better. But I also learned a lot from the people that was riding there as well. Just to see them riding, I learned a lot. For example, one of my biggest inspirations when I was there was Cameron Hanley. He was working at the same, not for Dietmar, for Seville Banshee at the same farm. And he's an incredible rider, and I learned so much and got so inspired from riding together with him every day. So I also think you can learn a lot, not only from having a trainer, but also from see other people riding and ride together with them. But I started to go to bigger shows. I started to the year passed, and I found my way with Micmac. When she was 8, she got sold to America. She was there for a year, and then she came back, and then I got to ride her again. And it was in the when she was 9, she came back in the beginning of the winter season. And then in February, when she was 10, 2011, that's when I had my biggest victory ever. That was the first time I was going back to Sweden for a show, and I got the chance to ride the World Cup in Gothenburg, which is my hometown. And I came there. I had no expectations. I was just so incredibly happy to be on this show, and I got to ride the World Cup, and I won it. I won the World Cup on Sunday. I was second in the Grand Prix on Saturday with another horse, which was already my biggest achievement ever, and I couldn't believe how it happened. And then I was in the clouds, and then the day after I won the World Cup with Micmac. So that is until now my absolute biggest and most important victory. And then the 2013, she also took the bronze medal at the European Championships in team. So this is my 2 highest ranks.
Fantastic. Yeah. Really, really amazing. On the other side, like on the other end, what has been until now your biggest frustration?
Oh,
like the hardest moment.
Well, I think every rider has a lot of hard moments, but I think also me and this horse, Micmac, we came very, very close. So most of my best moments and my worst moments is including her. I have a few with her. I have when I was Olympics 2012. She got injured just before, so she couldn't go. That was a big frustration, of course. And then when I later on, when I left Germany, when I left the Dietmar Gugler stable, I also left her. I also left the horse there, so that was a very, very, very difficult moment to leave your best horse. That's the first 2 things that comes up in my head. Yeah.
Perfect. Just a quick question. Marlon asked me, or told me to ask you, for where would the kids compete from? They will compete
Sweden,
for...
of course. Yeah.
All right.
Well, actually, I have an explanation for it. So when they compete for Sweden, they have they if they do with the ponies, no, they can do the championship. They can do the championship for ponies, for juniors, young riders, and then I think when they become seniors, if they want to ride, of course, then they can maybe change to Brazil if they like. But I think to be as a young rider, it's better to be in a European country if you live in Europe, because then you can take the advantage from all the championships and shows.
Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense now. Yeah, exactly. Filipinho Azevedo's son has do the same. He's jumping to Belgium, and he says that once he's on top level, he'll change to Brazil. So that's all.
But I think our son, he's 1.5, but he might not be a rider. He might be a soccer player.
Yeah,
so
people say exactly that, right? People say exactly like that.
That we have to see about that also.
All right, moving on. All right, you told a little bit about Micmac. Which of the horses do you think were the most important in your career? And tell us a little bit about them. I know that now you have a couple, but I believe many have passed through your life. So tell us a little bit about the important horses in your career.
Yeah, I had. If you were talking about the first horse there that we bought, that was the young rider horse. That one was very important.
What was it called?
Her name was Odette. Odette W. And she yeah, she made it possible for me to do the young riders and do it well. She was also, of course, the one who brought me to Germany, got me the contacts there. Then Micmac in Germany. I also got the chance to ride Livello from Seville Sabanci. That was a very good stallion. Was also before ridden by Cameron. So we did some Nations Cups and some good shows with him. I had also another good horse called Walter. With him, I had a lot of nice results as well. I'm trying to go through, but I don't wanna miss anyone. What did we have more? When I came, I'm thinking then when I moved over to Belgium, when I came to Ashford Farm, and that's the next part of the story. After I left Germany, I went to Ashford Farm in Belgium, working for Enda Carroll, and there I had a lot of nice horses. The first one that pops up in my head that was a very good horse was called. He changed his name. He got sold to Meredith Michaels, and then they changed the name to Comanche.
All right.
The gray, very, very nice jumper. Right now, I can't remember his name, what it was before they changed the name.
Yeah.
When I rode him, he had a different name. But now he's called Comanche. That was an incredible horse as well. Yeah, I got to ride so many nice horses. And then since we started our own, my most important horse until now is called Nintendo Star. We bought him when he was 6, and he's basically the one that took me up to the big level again after we had our kids. So he has been also very important in my career to get me back up. Now I have a very good horse, a mare called Kalinka, that is owned by Rostal. This one is a very good horse that I think for the moment is very important, but I think she's gonna be very important for my career for the coming time. Yeah.
This one is the chestnut that you jumped on Gothenburg this year.
Yes. So she is still very green for the level. She haven't done it really before. So she is still doing everything she does now. It's her first time. It's her first 5-star, her first World Cup, her first of everything for the moment. But this is a horse that I believe a lot in.
Fantastic. Okay, then you moved from Germany to Belgium.
Mm-hmm.
To Ashland's Farm, is that right?
Ashford Farm. So that was 2014. 2014 in January I started there. Marlon was also working there at the same time.
That's how you two met?
He might have been the reason I moved. Yeah, so we met before that, yeah. And then I moved to Belgium. I got the chance to ride in at Ashford, which was a stable that I was admiring a lot. Also the founder, Enda Carroll, we have been friends before that. We were riding junior and young riders together, so I know him before. So then I was there. That was 2014, 2015, and then 2016 after the summer. That's when we started our own.
Perfect.
I was there for 2.5 years.
One of the questions that I was sent before, it was exactly that. How did you meet Marlon?
Well, we met. It might be a different story if you ask him and if you ask me. But my story is that we met down in Oliva.
Okay.
So that was 2013 we met. We were there on the tour. the first time we spoke, that the first memory I have, it's very funny. So I was riding in the warm-up, flatting a horse, and then I heard someone riding behind me and doing, and then I turned around and I said to him, was that kisses for me or was it for the horse? And everyone who knows Marlon, they know that he nearly fell off the horse because he got so embarrassed. And I found it so funny. And then he said, because he didn't know what to answer, I could hear him thinking, should I say you or should I say the horse? And he said, it was for the horse. I said, okay. And then I kept riding. And after that, we started talking more and more, and how it is on the tours. You ride together in the morning, and then we got to know each other a little bit more. So that's first how we became friends. And then later on that spring, we started to date, and
the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Absolutely amazing. Really, really good. Angelica, I'll do a little quick tick and tack with you. So we can go through the main questions, and then I have like these topics so we can keep on going. So the first question, if you could choose any horse in the world to get to your stable now so you can ride it, which horse would it be?
I'm a big fan of Explosion from Ben Maher.
Fantastic choice. Now it's a bit more harder one. In history, like any horse on history.
Shutterfly.
Shutterfly. Fantastic. Really good. I've been asking that, but you already answered it. But anyway, if you can get like a time machine to bring a horse that you read in the past back to your life now, Mi'kmaq?
Yeah, 100%. She was incredible, but she was also giving you a lot of headache because she was never easy. She was unpredictable. You never know what was going to happen, but that quality of a horse, I never sat on a horse with that quality ever after her. It's unbelievable, and that's definitely a horse I would love to ride again.
Fantastic. Last two questions. Which is the show that you most enjoy jumping? Your favorite show?
I feel like this is getting a little bit boring, but Gothenburg Horse Show.
No, it's all right. It's just because
Gothenburg Horse Show.
All right.
Also, I have to say, Gothenburg Horse Show and Geneva is my two favorite indoor shows.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be a more interesting, and they asked that already before.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually the reason why I called you for the interview, because they asked that during Marlon's interview. And then I got like, ooh, instead of just asking Marlon to ask her, let's ask her in person and see what she has to say. What do you think are the difference and the difficulties to be a woman in the show jumping sport?
Oh. Yeah, I think it has a lot of points. Good, things you can say that it's better to be a woman and the other way around. But of course, I would say in former times, then it was probably better to be a man because the horses were different. You needed a lot of power to ride the horses. Now, since the sport have changed a lot, the horses are more sensitive, they're more fine. You ride with more feeling than you do with power or strength. So I think nowadays it's not a negative thing to be a woman, which maybe it was in former times, I suppose. Of course, the men are... my first point is just that the men are stronger, but I don't think that is something that you need as much today. Okay, then it depends on how far you want to go. If you also want to think about a woman, they might have kids and they need to be out for the sport for a while men, they can just keep going. Yeah, I don't, nowadays I don't see it, it's not a big difference to be a man or a woman in the sport.
Do you
Not
think
anymore, I don't think.
do you think you got the same opportunities as boys do, as men do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because one of the things that I found, and I was trying to come up with that, for if you look into the FEI rankings, under top 10 we have one woman today that's busy.
Yeah.
Then we have another girl on 24th, and then I think 33. It's I think it's really weird when you have a sport where, at least in Brazil, and as I've seen in Europe as well, we have more girls riding than boys. But when you go to the top level, it kind of goes the other way around. You have more male riders than female riders.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't really have the answer for it, to be honest. But it's very true. It's very true.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because exactly, I don't know.
Yeah.
People ask like,
It's
you
very
feel
interesting.
like you had the same opportunities. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, I definitely think we do have the same opportunities like men.
Perfect then. One of the people that asked me, they asked, how do you manage to ride, to work your horses, to go to the shows and the kids?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's all about organization. I'm the luckiest person, I think, because of Marlon's mother. She is helping me very, very much with my kids. Of course, if it wouldn't be for her, I would definitely need to have help. I would need to hire a nanny or have someone helping me. I think that many people, they're saying when you have kids that you it's hard to focus on the riding and you get maybe more worried. In my opinion, or in my situation, not at all. But I think it's only because I have someone very good taking care of my kids, and I know that she takes care of them 100%. So I don't need to be worried. If I would have someone I can't really trust, then of course I would be riding and thinking, did they get fed? Did they sleep? Whatever. So I think it's about finding the right person to give this big trust to take care of your children. If you find that person, then it's not a problem at all to ride and to take care of the children. In my situation, I try to ride as much as I can in the morning. The kids, they're always around because they're always at the farm. Okay, in the normal situation, Melissa is in school, and then I try to spend as much time as I can with them in the afternoon. But it's all a question about organization to have children and ride. It's absolutely not that you can't do it both.
Fantastic. One thing that Marlon said during his interview is about how fantastic you became. Of course, you told your story on a flat work and on the flat round that that you are such a big part of it. And I want you to explain to people, what do you think is the importance of flat work for a show jumping horse?
I think the flat work is one of the most important things with a horse. You need to, of course, make them rideable, to be able to listen to you in the ring, to have the control. You also need to do the flat work to make them build the right muscles, to get strong, to get conditioned, to get supple in their body. You don't want to have a stiff horse, and this you can make them better in the flat work. It's incredibly important. And then I think what is important when you are doing the flat work is that you have to listen to your horse. That's the most important. You have to try to understand your horse. If you have a problem, ask yourself, why do we have this problem? Find the reason for it. Many people, I think, they get too hard and too rough, and they want to solve the problem with power. But it's, in my opinion, there's not many horses that don't want to do what you ask them to, because they are bad. Most of the time it is because there is something bothering them, or something with their muscles that you need to improve. Maybe you ask them too difficult things that they body-wise can't do. So I think that's one of the main things when you are doing flat work with your horse, is to understand them, understand their body. Not every horse is the same. I think that's the main part when you work with horses in general.
Fantastic, thank you very much. That I'm not sure what you think about it, but that's why I'm asking. What do you think about the new rules for the hind boots?
Oh, I think that everything that goes to extreme is not good. Okay. I think the hind boots went to extreme, what people were starting to do and use, and then it's good to put a point to stop it, but then I think you also need to find a good solution to it. So I think it's good that they do something about it. Then if now what exactly will be the idea, I'm not sure. I think they pick a few boots that will be allowed, which I think it's good. I don't think you should be able to use anything. So if they can find, if that will be the idea, that you will have just three different kinds of boots, I see it only positive, to be honest.
Okay, another question that has sent to me: what do you look for when you're searching for a horse? What's the most important quality?
I prefer to sit on the horse myself, to feel what I go a lot about the feeling, if they want to do the right thing. Of course, you want a horse with good technique, scopy, careful, all of this, rideable, yes. But for me, I want them to be sportive in the body. I don't want to have a big and stiff horse. I want to have a blood horse. I want them, of course, to be careful. Nowadays, you need a very careful horse. But also the mentality is very important. That you get the feeling when you sit on the horse that they always try their best, and they want to do the right thing. And then when you sit on, you also feel how much ability they have to do it. But the positive attitude, I like a lot.
All right, thank you. I think Janica is watching us. So hey, Janica. Hey. I think she's the one on Insider's table. So hey, she's saying you're doing great here, sexy mama.
Thank you. Making me blush here.
Janica, I want to talk to you. I sent you a text message. You never answered me, please.
You did now?
No, I sent her a message a couple of weeks ago asking to do an interview with her and Henrik, and she has never answered me.
No, but she never answered me either, so don't take it personal.
All right, sweet. Angelica, one question that I have no clue, and we have been discussing that in the Brazilians interviews. How is that they choose the Sweden team?
The what?
The Sweden team, the teams for the championships, for Olympics. How is chosen the riders that's going to be on the Sweden team?
How they choose it?
Yes.
Well, we have a very close relationship with our chef d'équipe, Henrik Ankakrona. He's very involved in a way that he follows, of course, all the shows, people or the riders that is all over Europe, the Swedish riders. He follows them. He keep a close contact to it, and I'm very sorry, but there's a spider on my floor, and I'm very scared of spiders. Sorry, 1 second.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, I'm good.
How it's not that they say that you have to go to this or that show and then the best of that show can ride. It's not like that. He follows the riders, the horses. if there is one horse that he wants to test a little bit, you make a plan with that horse. He say, I want you to do that show to test it, and then he follows the whole year from the horses. It's very simple. It's not that you have to be the best on one show. It goes over a couple of months. The horse that is he follows them. It's good. It's good.
It's subjective. Like he choose whoever he thinks it's best, not necessarily the best results.
No, exactly.
Perfect. That was the whole main question. Like if they had
okay.
one choice. Also, well, Jacqueline Lai has stopped by and said, "What a fantastic story! You're an inspiration to all of us." And someone that I've missed said that you might be the best female rider on Europe right now. So.
Oh, thank you. That I take as a big compliment. Thank you very much.
That's that. I think I have just one more question. So if anyone, there's an important question that they want to make to Angelica, that's the time to type to me and write it there. Can it be in Portuguese or in English? Because, we translate. There are plenty of young riders coming up. And what would be your experience? Is Marlon coming to clean up the spider?
Yeah.
Thanks, Marlon.
Oh, okay.
It's all right.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't understand what you said.
No, it's all right. What is your advice for the younger riders that are coming up and want to be on top sport?
I think what I always believe in anything, if it is riding or not, is that if you want something really badly, you will find a way to get there. Of course, you can say for some people it's easier than others because they come from a riding family, they get the horses served, they have everything. Of course, yeah, it's easier. Some people, they have this incredible talent. It's also easy to become a good rider. But if you really want something, I believe that you work hard enough and you find your way to do it, and don't give up. There is many riders in the top sport that didn't have a fairy tale story and anyway ended up very good. So I think it's important that you try to find a way to surround yourself with good people. If you get opportunity to go somewhere to learn, if it is to just as anything, just to be in the environment of a professional stable. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. You're
yeah.
Still. Okay, keep on.
Good. Yeah. I think that's the way I would suggest, is to always try to find the way to be in a professional environment. I have Swedish girls that is asking on their summer vacation to come to us and just help us in the stable, and it's incredible because they just love the horses, they love the sport, and they work really hard. And I think it's those people that might end up in the big sport because they really try so hard, and they're not afraid of working. Nowadays, you need to work hard to get there. Yeah, I think just if you really want it, just don't give up and find a way to get there, because I believe that in one way or the other you can do it.
Perfect. Thank you very much. That's absolutely. There's a question for you from Marcel. Who is your best horse at the moment, and what's your next big dream?
Next big dream. My two best horses at the moment is Nintendo Star and Kalinka. They're both 10 years old. It's actually the oldest horses that I have. They are now going on a 5-star level. But then we have also very, very good young horses, younger ones. I sold this year one of my best upcoming horses called Malu. We sold to Leonie Peters. I have a few very nice very good young horses. I'm very excited about the future, and about my dream. Yeah, my dream is to be back in the Swedish team and do the Nations Cups. That's my goals, and of course I had this year now that I was gonna do the Nations Cup, and now that's not happening. So I just have to keep working, and then do the big indoor shows, and then next year try again. I hope I still have the 2 horses, and then I can do the Nations Cups. That's something I'm really dreaming of.
Perfect. Angelica, thank you very, very, very much for your time.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
Hope it was not as boring, and that it kept you interested.
I hope, I mean, the most important this was the people who watched it think. I had fun.
Great, that's perfect then.
It was nice.
Well, my whole plan is to keep doing a little bit of interviews with foreign people, so we keep getting different income. So Janica, Henrik, Scott, or
I'm gonna make sure she answer your message.
Thanks. But that was the whole plan. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. I think we got some really, really good insights, and hope to see you soon.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Be safe.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone that watched it. Bye-bye. Bom, pessoal, a gente tem aí mais 2 minutinhos só. Eu vou voltar para o inglês. Thank you very much, Angelica. Vou voltar para o português. Obrigado a todo mundo. Muito, muito obrigado a Samantha Sutherland, que me ajudou na tradução. Eu não consegui acompanhar, porque ou eu lia ou eu falava. Então, depois, quem puder me dar o feedback se ficou bom, se ela, enfim, se fez sentido. Essa live vai ficar salva no meu Instagram. Eu vou colocá-la no YouTube e vou tentar legendar ela para depois, tá bom? Eu tenho aí o sonho de fazer isso com cavaleiros internacionais, outros e mais outros, para a gente ter sempre gente nova falando e ouvir essas histórias, porque eu mesmo não faria ideia da história dela se eu não tivesse tido essa oportunidade incrível de conversar com ela em uns minutinhos. Queria agradecer a todo mundo que participou, agradecer a Malu, que faz a divulgação para mim pelo canal do Hipismo, agradecer ela que está me dando essas camisas incríveis, me vestindo para a gente ficar bonitinho na tela. Agradecer a todo mundo que participou. Aguardo os feedbacks. Foi a primeira vez que eu fiz inglês. É mais difícil quando eu não tenho a referência Brasil para usar. Então, é isso. Queria agradecer a todo mundo. E a gente continua mais para frente. Amanhã, às 3 da tarde, Nelson Pessoa. Eu vou testar um pouco antes com ele para a gente tentar ajustar as coisas. Todo mundo que tiver dúvida, tiver